भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पश्चाताय सदारिणे नमो महावदनाय कृष्ण प्रेमा प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतुषे नमः नमो ब्रह्मणाय दिव्याय दिव्याय गोब्राह्मणाय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपीशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्ता कंचना गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ईश्वरी विष्णुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा शिवासादि गौरभक्ता वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानंद माधवम्। So first I will tell that what we learned in the previous chapter, chapter 4. In the last two shlokas, shloka number 41 and 42, in shloka number 41, Krishna glorified Gyan and renunciation. And in shloka number 42, he said to Arjuna, stand up and fight. So in the previous chapter, it was clearly told that when person work in knowledge, that is transcendental knowledge. So at that time, since his working is for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is not attached to the results of the work, he will not get any reactions. So in chapter number 5, in the beginning, Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness, Arjuna is completely bewildered here. His understanding is that Gyan and renunciation basically means which is done through senses. And now Krishna is saying, work in devotion, fight for me. So he's not understanding. At one time he's saying stop working, and at other time Lord Krishna is saying start working. So he is confused that what I am supposed to do. So in shloka number 1, Mataji, please bless me so that I can present it nicely. Shloka number 1, Arjuna Vach, Sanyasam Karmana Krishna, Punya Yogam Cha Shansasi, Yache Et Yorukam, Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam. So the first question from which the chapter 5 starts is that, where Arjuna is asking which one is better. Oh Krishna, please tell me renunciation or work in devotion. Here we start the chapter 5. So from shloka number 2, Krishna will give answer to Arjuna. So from shloka number 2 to 6, Krishna is proving that how renunciation and work in devotion both are equal. Not much difference is there. Both are aiming at liberation. But what is actually binding us in this material world is the work that we have done and the reactions we have got in return. So that reactions are binding us in the material world. So if we found out the way in which we can get ourselves free from the reactions. So when there is no reaction to work, person can be liberated. So in shloka number 2, Shri Bhagwan Uvacha, Sanyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreha Karma Ubhayo Tayostu Karma Sanyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. So here, the personality of Godhead, the Lord Krishna is giving the answer. Here, Bhagwan is saying, karma is a work that is described, prescribed in Shastra, like, doing charity or, deity worship. If we are just taking care and, just focusing on the, bodily comforts, and, we are not at that point, we are just doing, enjoyment and doing sense gratification. So we are not able to progress in spiritual life. Then we have to take another birth. And then again, we have to transmigrate in another body. So human body has mind. So it has got intelligence. So it is very important for the humans to do devotional service, to start their journey for the ultimate goal. Otherwise, we will continue to take birth and, from one body to another, we will be caught up in material bondage. So it's very important to develop love for devotional service to Lord Vasudeva. Only then one can come out of this bondage of material existence. As we have understood from chapter 2 that we are spirit souls, and spirit soul, I am supposed to do what? I am supposed to serve Krishna. If that is not happening, then there is no point of saying that I am a spirit soul if I am not serving Lord Vasudeva, Sri Hari. Finally, we have to purify our heart. And when we start serving Krishna without our notice, what will happen? There will be a renunciation. Gradually, renunciation is, complete. When we understand we don't own anything in this world. Krishna is the owner. He is the proprietor. Everything belongs to Krishna. So we have to offer each and everything that we have got from Krishna. That will be our devotional service. When it is offered with love, in devotion to Sri Hari, he accepts. Krishna gets satisfied. This is for better than, artificial renunciation. Better to do bhakti and go back to Godhead. In shloka number 3, Gyaya sa nitya sannyasi, yo na dveshati na kankshati, nidvando hi mahabhavo, sukham bandhat pramuchyate. A person who does not, na dveshti, na kankshat, he does not hate nor desires the fruits of activities. Such a person is to be known as Nitya Sannyasi. He's actually renounced. Such a person is free from Nirdvandohi, free from dualities. Sukham Bandham Pramuchyate. Such a person happily he overcomes material bondage and becomes liberated. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, a person who has practiced bhakti, he or she gives 100%, but then not attached to the results. Then also he's not attached to the results. He does his best and leave the rest to Krishna. Oh Krishna, your wish. If you desire to give me this particular thing, and if you don't desire, you may not. And devotee is okay with anything. Because devotee knows his relationship with Krishna. That I am part and parcel of Krishna. Ma me vansho jiva loke, jiv bhuto sanatana. And my constitutional position is that I am a servant of Krishna. Jive swarupe hoy nitya Krishna das. I am your eternal servant. Then let the master decide what result to give. A person does not hate nor desire. Whatever results comes, it's okay for the devotee. So when this knowledge develops, that is the perfect knowledge. Shloka number 4. Sankhya Yogya Prithak Bala Pravadanti na Pandita Ekam api astitta samyak ubhayora vindatar phalam. So in this shloka, Bala Pravadanti, all ignorant one, speak like this. Samya Yogya Prithak. Sankhya Yogya Prithak. Sankhya is of the analytical study and Yoga Prithak is devotional service. They are actually different Pandita. So learned people, they don't speak like this. Krishna is saying, they say that if a person applies to either of these two processes, be a Sankhya or Yogya Prithak, analytical study or devotional service, Ubhayog Vrindate Phalam, that person achieves fruits of both of them, results of both of them. Here, Lord is saying there is not much difference is there in between both of them. Sankhya Yoga is sannyas, aspect, renunciation aspect. And the another is devotional service aspect. In purport, Prabhupada says that the aim of the analytical study of the material world is to find the soul of existence. Soul of the material world is Vishnu or the super soul. So Sankhya aspect is Sankhya Yoga. They try to analyze, what do? They try to analyze different elements which are making the entire material world. There are total 26 elements in number, that what I have learned. First is, Panch Mahabhuta, which is earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And then 5 knowledge acquiring senses: eyes, nose, ears, tongue, skin. Other 5 are working senses, like hands, legs, speech, genitals, and rectum. Then 5 sense objects. For eyes, sense object is vision, and for nose, it is smell. Tongue is taste, ears is sound, skin is touch. So 20 I have done. So subtle body, we have 3 more on subtle body, which is mind, false ego, and intelligence. And 24th is unmanifested 3 modes of material nature. And 25th is the body. And 25th element is spirit soul. And now the 26th, they understood is they want to understand how, on 26th element, they want to understand how the entire world is working. So they finally come down to the point on 26th element, super soul. So Sankhya philosophy tries to break material aspect and finally come to spiritual conclusion. So Sankhya philosophy is to search root, and you finally found the root, Krishna, Vishnu, the supreme super soul. And another analogy is watering that roots. Serving the supreme personality of Godhead when it comes to analysis of Sankhya Yoga is more a process of detachment. Whereas in Bhakti Yoga, he tries to attach to Krishna. So Bhakti Yoga is better. Devotional service is much easier. Because no one has time to analyze all these 5 elements, all these 5 sense objects. So we just understand who is supreme and what is my relationship with the supreme, Lord Shri Hari, Krishna, and what I'm supposed to do. I am supposed to always be in the seva of Shri Bhagwan, Shri Narayan. Shloka 5. Yat Sankhya prapyate sthanam tad yogir apigamyate ekam sakhyam cha yogam cha ye pashyati sa pashyati. So, yat Sankhya prapyate sthanam. So, here we say Sankhya Gyan or renunciation. Similar goal can be attained by Bhakti Yoga also. Both are on the same level. So, Ekam, so such a person sees things as one, as they are. So, but in purport, Srila Prabhupada tells what is the difference between the two. Which one is better? The real purpose of philosophical research to find its ultimate goal of life for self-realization. Understanding one's own self and understanding super self, that is Krishna. Understanding the relationship between two, the process of getting attached to Krishna, spending time with Krishna, going through this process, we develop relationship with him. Shloka number 6. Sanyastu mahabhavo dukkham aptum ayogata yoga yukto munir brahma na chiranati gacchati. So Mahabhavo, mighty armed one, Arjuna. Sanyasastu, merely renouncing everything does not serve the purpose. The person will get distressed, dukkham aptum. He cannot become happy, but yoga yukto, who is engaged in devotional services, na chiranti gacchati, he attains the supreme. Now finally, Lord Krishna concludes, by doing the devotional service, the person can attain the supreme without delay. But other path will take long time. For example, the Vaishnav sannyasi who are engaged in devotional service are happy in the discharge of their transcendental duties, and they have generated ultimate entrance into the kingdom of God. The Mayavadi sannyasis sometimes fall down from the path of self-realization and again entered into the material activities, which are nothing but just material engagements. Therefore, the conclusion is, who are engaged in Krishna conscious activities are better because they are situated in the simple process of devotional services. So, engaged in simple speculation about what is Brahman, what is not Brahman, although they came to Krishna consciousness after many, many births. So, what happens when a person is engaged in Krishna consciousness activities? It is better because the sannyasis engaged in simple speculation about what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, although they too come to Krishna consciousness after many births. Shloka 7, Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma, Vijittatma Jitendriya, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, Kurvan Apina Lipyate. So the person who is doing devotional service is Vishuddha Atma, a pure soul, one who has conquered, and has control over his mind and senses. Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, such a person is very dear to one and everyone is dear to him. Kurvan api lipyate, such a person, even he is not doing so many different activities, still he won't be entangled. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that you cannot think of any living being as separate from Krishna. Just as leaves and branches of trees are not separate from the trees. So in the same case, each and every living entity, a person who is in Krishna consciousness sees like this, like each and every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. Analogy of tree is given here, that a person who is on the spiritual platform, his vision is also spiritual, and he is able to notice or perceive spirit soul, and each and every body is driven by spirit soul. That what Krishna consciousness person is able to see. So in this way, he does not make any distinction between anyone. He gives respect, or he deals with entities in proper way. So one analogy of tree is given by Prabhupada in the purport, and another analogy given is supplying food to the stomach. And the energy is automatically distributed through the body. A person who works in Krishna consciousness is dear to everyone because everyone is satisfied by his work. Because he is always working in Krishna consciousness. He is in pure consciousness. His mind is totally controlled, completely controlled, because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, on the lotus feet of Sri Hari. So then there is no chance of being deviated from the path of bhakti from Krishna. So, nor there is a chance that he will engage his senses in the matter other than the service of the Lord. He does not like to hear anything except topics related to Krishna. He does not like to eat anything which is not offered to Krishna. He does not wish to go anywhere if Krishna is not involved. His senses are controlled, like we have seen in the second chapter. Arjuna was superficially offensive because all the assembled persons on the battlefield would not continue to live individually, as the soul cannot be slain. It cannot be murdered. So spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield. Only the dresses were changed. That too by the order of Shri Krishna. So Arjuna was simply carrying out the order given by Shri Krishna. So when we do the order which is said by the Krishna, so that order is in full Krishna consciousness. So such a person is never entangled. And this is the first characteristics of a person who is in a Yog Yukta. Now shloka number 8 and 9 we will see. नैव किंचित करोमीति युक्तो मान्येता तत्त्ववेत् पाश्यान् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् जिघ्रन् आश्नान् गच्छन् स्वपन् स्वशन् प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् उन्मिषन् निमिषन् अपि इन्द्राणि इन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्ता इति धारयान्. So the second characteristics of a Yog Yukta is aloof by sense objects. Aloof means something which is distant. So Tattvavit, the person, it is written in the shloka, Tattvavit, which means the person who knows the truth, who is in divine consciousness. Yukta, he is engaged in doing all these things by Pashyan, seeing, Shrinavan, hearing, Sparshan, touching, Jigrahan, smelling, Swapna, he is dreaming, Shwasan, he is breathing, Pralapam, he is talking, Visrajan, he is giving up, Granan, he is accepting, Unmisham and Nimishan, he is opening and closing his eyes. So basically, he is doing all these activities. These are Naiva Kinchit Karomiti Manyate. But still, when he is doing these, he knows that he is not doing anything at all, because Indrayani Indriyartheshu, the senses are getting engaged with sense object, but actually he is aloof. He is nowhere involved between, because he is a spirit soul. So how the person is aloof? Let's see in the purport given by Prabhupada. A person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence. And secondly, he is engaged in the loving transcendental service of Shri Krishna. Material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification. But in Krishna consciousness, senses are engaged in the satisfaction of Bhagavan. A Krishna consciousness person is never affected by actions of senses. All senses are meant for work, but Krishna consciousness people know that they are eternal servitor of Lord Shri Krishna. So he cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord. Shloka number 10. ब्रह्माणि अध्याय कर्माणि संगम त्यक्त्वा करोति ये लिप्यते न सा पापेन padmapatrам ivam dhasha. So he is unaffected by sinful reaction. This is the third characteristics of a Yoga Yukta. Now Arjuna seems to have a question. Okay, if person is working in detached way, what about the sinful reactions? Will he get sinful reactions? So here in the shloka, Sangam Tyaktava Karoti, one who performs work with detachment, means without attachment. Brahmani adhyay karmani. So surrendering all result to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahman. So such a person lipyate na sa papena. So such as a person is unaffected by the sinful action. And Padma Patram Ivam Bhasha. So here Lord Krishna is giving analogy. He's saying like lotus leaf is untouched by water. So here in the purport, Prabhupada has given nice quote from Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, shloka number 3. Mama yonir mahat brahma. So here Krishna is indicating that everything is manifestation of Brahman. So Brahman means spiritual entity. But here specifically Brahman means Supreme Brahman. That is Krishna. Soul is Brahman. The super soul is called Brahman sometimes. The various material aspects are also Brahman. So everything in the material world is a manifestation of Brahman, and although the effects are differently manifested, they are non-different from the cause. In the Ishopanishad, first shloka, it is said that everything is coming from the Supreme Brahman or Krishna, and thus everything belongs to him only. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, shloka 8, Aham sarvasya prabho mata, sarvam pravartate. He says, I am the source and everything is coming from me. He is the proprietor. Srihari is the proprietor and he is the Sarva Karanam. The conclusion that Prabhupada has given in the purport is that a person without Krishna consciousness acts according to the concept of material body and senses. But a person in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge that the body is the property of Krishna and should be therefore be engaged in the service of Shri Krishna. Shloka number 11. Kaina manesa buddhaya kevaler indriyar api yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktavatmas shuddhaye. So here, talking about yogi, whenever we are talking about yogi, we talk about Nishkam Karma Yogi or devotee or a person in Krishna consciousness. Yogi na karma kurvanti. Sangam tyaktava. He is doing work, but he is detached. Now he is acting with his body, kayena, which is kayena. More manasa, mind. Buddhaya, with the intelligence. Kevala, indriyari api, also with the senses, for the purpose of purification, Atma Shuddhaya. So actually, when we are doing devotional service, although we are doing it for Krishna, but gradually what is happening? That we are getting purified. When a person in Krishna consciousness applies everything produced of body, mind, intelligence, words, life, wealth, etc., whatever he may have within his possession to Krishna service, he is at one dovetailed with Krishna. So the practice of purifying and aligning one activities in Krishna consciousness. So here in the purport, we see Prabhupada has mentioned about a quote by Sri Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Iha yasya harer dasya karmana manasa gira nikhilasva api avasthasu jivan muktasu uchyate. So if someone can engage all his senses of his body, use his mind, he uses his mind, uses his speech, intelligence, everything in the service of Krishna, such a person can actually be considered as a liberated person because he is doing work and there is no reaction to work. He is only doing all this work through his senses for the pleasure of Shri Krishna. Krishna is personally involved there, although we cannot see that. So what else? Their liberation has to be there. So in current situation, we all will be untouched by the material contamination of the world. Especially that person, who is always, engaging his mind, body, words in the service of Shri Krishna. So he is always, untouched by the material contamination. And when that person dies, he goes back to the Godhead. Shloka number 12. Yukta karma phalam tyakva santim apnoti naistikam avyukta kam karena phale sakto nibadyate. It's spoken about person who is attached and gets entangled in this world. Yuktaha is a person who is steadily engaged in devotional service. Karma phalam tyaktava, where one is steadily engaged in devotional service, he is detached. He offers or given up all result to the Lord, Shri Krishna. That's why he is detached. And what happens to such a person? Shantim apnoti nestikam. Such a person attains unflinching, unadulterated faith. But ayukta, a person who is not in divine consciousness, who is not in Krishna consciousness. Kam karena is very greedy for what? Phalam, for fruits of the action. Phale sakto nibhadyate, such a greedy person becomes nibhadyate, entangled. So yukta person attains shanti, eternal shanti, peace, where ayukta, who is not in divine consciousness, such a person cannot have peace. He suffers, he gets entangled. A person in Krishna consciousness is attached to Shri Krishna. A material person is attached to the result of activities. So one who is yukta, such a person is free from anxieties and worries, because he is whatever doing, he's not expecting any result out of it. He's detached. So he's free from anxieties and worry. Now, from shloka number 13, we will see who is the doers of the action from shloka number 13 to 16. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasate sukham vashi navdware pure dehi neva kurvanna karyayan. That sarva karmani manasa sanyasyate sukham vashi. When the embodied living being control his nature and mentally renounces all actions, such a person resides in Navdware Pure Dehi. He is living in a body of 9 gates of the city. And what is he doing? He is sukham, happy. He's neither working nor causing work to be done. Nev kur karyan, who is actually doing it, work. So who is actually doing work? 3 modes of material nature. We have already seen this in 3rd chapter, where Krishna is explaining in chapter 3, shloka number 27, Prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kantaham iti manyate. So 3 modes of material nature is doing all activities. But then living entity thinks that I am the one who is doing it. So the spirit soul is trapped in this body because he have forgotten his real identity. So because of this forgetfulness with his, with identity with the body, so he thinks once the body is destroyed, everything is finished or destroyed. In Krishna consciousness, person, he becomes aloof from bodily activities. He has such a controlled life. He lived happily in the city of 9 gates because he is free from both outer and inner activities of the material body. So we'll proceed to shloka number 14. Na कृत्वितं na कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु na karma phala samyogam स्वभवस्तु pravartate. So there are three doers. One we have seen in the previous shloka, that is Jivatma. Now let's see the second doer. So here is the word used, Prabhu. Prabhu, it's the another word for the embodied being, master of nine gates. That is us, we in this body. So what is given for Prabhu? He does not create any action or induce people to act. He does not create any fruits of action. Then who is doing? So, Swabhavasa tu pravartate. This is all done by three modes of material nature. So in this shloka, Bhagwan is using na 3 times. Lord Krishna has used 3 times, and it is very clear that na kritvatam, na karmani, na karma phala samyogam. The living entity, he does not do the work, nor he induces other to do the work. He is the one, does not create the fruits of action. Then who is doing this? It is done by the modes of the material nature. So in the purport, we see Prabhupada tells us that as soon as the living entity becomes aloof from the activities of the body, he becomes free from the reactions as well. As long he is in the city of the body, he appears to be the master of it. But actually, he is neither the proprietor nor the controller of its actions and reactions. He is simply in the midst of the material ocean, struggling for existence. The waves of oceans are tossing him here and there, and he has no control over them. His best solution is to get out of the water by transcendental Krishna consciousness. That alone will save him from all the turmoil is being explained in this purport by Srila Prabhupada. Now we go on shloka number 15. Nadate kasyati papam na chaiva sukritam vibhu agyane navatram jnanam tena muyanti jantavah. We have covered two doers. Now Jivatma and Prakritis. So, but who is actually controlling the three modes of material nature? We all know it is Shri Krishna. So if actually Krishna is controlling the three modes of material nature, and then all actions are happening, then why we are getting the result of that? So this shloka will remove all that misunderstanding that we have regarding Supreme Personality of Godhead. If God is there, then why so many negative things are happening in the world? Shloka number 15. Nadate kasya chiti papam na chevram sukritam vibhu agyanavratam jnanam tena muyanti jnanatvava. So third doer is Vibhu, the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unlimited, one. So Lord does not assume anyone's papam, sinful, or sukritam, pious activities. So who is doing it? Agyanena vratam, jnanam. So when knowledge is covered by ignorance, the living entity gets bewildered. He's the one who is actually doing it. He's the one who actually desires it. It's a very important shloka. What is our role? What is God's role? And what is the role of Prakriti? Here in the purport, we see God's another name is also Atmaram. He is completely satisfied. He does not need anything. Why will he satisfy? Why will he do any activity? He's Vibhu. He is unlimited. Because he has all the opulences. He does not create any particular situation for any living entity, but the living entity, bewildered by ignorance, and he also desires. So he only put him into a certain conditions of life, and thereby he is getting attracted to the chains of actions and reactions, which begins from his desires. So Lord is not doing anything. All the living entities are doing. It is because our knowledge is covered with ignorance, because we desire for sense gratification, for enjoying. That's why we are put into this material world. And Lord has made this material world so that we come here and play. We like to become master and Lord. So he's very merciful God. So he has created this material world for all us, so that we come here and, we play that part to become a master or Lord. So we are Anu. We are very insignificant, very minute. And Lord is Vibhu, unlimited. We have difference in quantity, but we are one in quality. As I have learned, Lord is Satchit Anand. Same, we are also Satchit Anand. We are also in, eternal, full of knowledge, blissful. But the problem is quantity. Lord is unlimited and cannot be covered with ignorance. But we are very minute. We are covered with ignorance. Since we are covered with ignorance, all these problems are coming because of ignorant desires we have of enjoying. But by the practice of Krishna consciousness, that ignorance will be removed. It is written here in the purport by Prabhupada that the Lord has given us free will. By that free will, we are desiring based on our previous past karma. That supports, us if we desire for something. So Lord will sanction it. And then he will tell the material nature to materialize whatever the person desires. So we will get it. So in this way. So we understood that three modes of nature acts only when we are desiring for it. And when the Lord will give a sanction, without that, it will not happen. Until and unless Shri Krishna give a sanction, nothing will happen in our life. So Lord engages the living entity in pious activities so that he may be elevated. So now we go on, shloka number 16. Jnanena tu tat ajnanam yesham neshitam atmana tesham aditya vajnanam prakashyati tat param. When one is enlightened by knowledge, then this knowledge destroys ignorance. That knowledge person has got revealed to him like the sun clears everything in the daytime. Purport: those who have forgotten Krishna, that person will be bewildered. But when it comes to a devotee, he will not be bewildered. He can answer why we are going through current situation. The perfect knowledge is achieved when one surrenders to Krishna. Bahunam jnanam ante jnananvam mam prapatyante vasudem sarvam iti sarvatma sudurlabha. After millions of lives, finally the person comes to the conclusion that Lord Shri Krishna is everything. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a person knows this. Such a person who knows this is Sudurlabham. So real knowledge can be obtained from a person who is in perfect Krishna consciousness. So person who has Krishna can only give Krishna to us. That person is spiritual master. And when we take the shelter of spiritual master and under his guidance, we learn Krishna consciousness, then we will become completely Krishna consciousness. Without bona fide spiritual master, by our own endeavors, we cannot attain perfection. Because Guru is the representative of God. We can understand our relationship with God by the mercy of Supreme, our spiritual master, by the mercy of spiritual master. So a person who does not know the distinction between the living entity and God, even after liberation, living entity will remain a living entity and the God will remain God. Their individualities will be maintained and na manyata is going to be happen. Nothing is going to be happen because their individualities will be maintained. So identity with individuality in spiritual life is real knowledge. Shloka number 17. Tad buddhayas tad atmanas tannishthas tad prayayana gachanti apunar avritam jnana nirdhutta kalmasaha. One whose intelligence is fixed in Supreme, one whose mind is fixed in Supreme, one who has complete faith in the Supreme, one who has taken the complete shelter of Supreme, then the person is totally cleansed of his misgivings, all his anarthas, through complete knowledge, the straight knowledge, because if he has knowledge, he straightly proceed to the path of liberation. He surrenders to Krishna and breaks the cycle of birth and death. In the purport, we see Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, Par Tattva, the Supreme Reality, who is understood by the knowers of Supreme Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. Bhagwan is the absolute, he is the topmost. He says no one is superior to him. Below that is Paramatma and Brahman. Shloka number 18. Vidya vinas sampane brahmane gavi hastini shruni chaiva shwapake cha pandita samdarshani. In previous verse, he spoke about people whose intelligence, mind, faith is fixed in Supreme and marching towards the liberation. And now in Shloka 18, he will tell the qualities that these great personalities have. Humble sages, Pandita, who has got very nice knowledge of Vidya. He sees all of us with equal vision. But spiritualist, by the mercy of Lord, he does not seize the body, whether it is a body of a dog, cat, or a bird. He sees two spirit souls, Jivatma and Super Soul, Paramatma. He has equal vision as Paramatma is placed in everyone's heart. Shloka number 19. Ihevater jita sargo yesham samme sthitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmani te sthita. So far, for those minds have established in sameness and equanimity, have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman. They are already situated in Brahman. As long as one identifies with this body, he is considered a conditioned soul. But as soon as he elevates to the stage of equanimity, that means that everyone is on the same stable situation, same. Through realization of self, he is liberated from the conditioned life. Who has attained that stage of equanimity, fix their mind on the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. For them, it becomes very, very easy and they are actually the right candidates for the liberation. Now we go on shloka number 20. Iheva terjite sargo yesham samye sthitam mana nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmani te sthita. Krishna is describing here various qualities of person who is a self-realized soul. So here Krishna is saying, so the person who does not rejoice when he attains something priyam, pleasant. He does not become agitated when he attains something apriyam, unpleasant. Who is self-intelligent? He is not unbewildered. He knows the signs of Krishna. That person is already situated in transcendence. So, first symptom of self-realized soul is that he is not illusioned by the false identification of the body with the true self. I am not this body, I am the spirit soul, as we have already learned this in second chapter. And then he knows that what is his identity. He is a fragmental part. We are all part and parcel of Shri Krishna. I am servant of Krishna. And what is my duty? My duty is to serve Shri Krishna. He is therefore not joyful if something is happening or he's achieving something, nor does he lament if he is losing something, which is related to the bodily platform. This is steadiness of mind called sthira buddhi. Sthira buddhi. He is never bewildered. When he understands his position, then he wants to know who is supreme. Then, with his higher realization, he understands, oh Lord is Brahman. Brahman is effulgence coming out from the body of the Lord. And then Paramatma, the Lord, which is sitting in each and every one's heart, in each and every, he who is present in each and every atom. And finally, he understands the Supreme Personality is Bhagwan. Finally, with time, with mercy of spiritual masters and Supreme Lord, yes, he understands that Bhagwan is ultimate and Brahman is not. Now, we go on shloka number 21. भय स्पर्श असक्तात्मा विन्दति आत्मनि यत् सुखम सा ब्रह्म योगा युक्तात्मा सुखम अकश्यम अश्नुति. So in shloka number 21, when you are happy in serving Krishna, a Krishna consciousness person is not attracted to any kind of sense pleasure, because both the things together will go ill together. Soul cannot get happiness from the matter. Even though they have everything, but still feel exhausted. Some kind of a hankering is there. Complete satisfaction will not be there. After realizing, by serving Krishna, I will get complete satisfaction. There he can give all his material desires. A Krishna conscious person is not attracted to any kind of sense pleasure due to his being a liberated soul. Now we go on shloka number 22. Yehi samsparsha jabhoga dukkha yoneya evate adi antavantaha kaunteya na teshu ramate buddha. So intelligent person don't get into activity which one is the source of dukh, misery. As I've learned, misery, the definition of misery is that which is common to all. Nobody wants it. Everybody will get it, which is old age, disease, birth, and death. So person who knows the sources of dukkha and understand how these miseries are coming. So because of enjoyment, he knows that these are things are coming. He does not uses all his senses, which is the problem of, senses is the problem of all this dukkhas which are coming, the miseries which are coming. He knows because all these enjoyments has beginning and the end. He does not take delight in sensual pleasures. Here in the purport, we see material sense pleasures are due to the contact of the material senses, which are all temporary because the body itself is temporary. A liberated soul is not interested in anything which is temporary. Therefore, true yogis or learned transcendentalists are not attracted by sense pleasure, which are the causes of continuous material existence. Shloka number 23. शक्नोति हैव ये सोधम प्रक्षरीरा विमोक्षणात् काम क्रोधो भवं वेगम सा युक्ता सा सुखी नराम. So, before giving up this present body, if someone can tolerate the material senses and can check the force of Kam and Krodh, such a person is well situated on a spiritual platform and he is happy in this world. In the purport, we see Prabhupada says that if someone wants to make a steady progress on the path of self-realization, he must try to control the forces of material senses. These are forces of talk, forces of anger, forces of mind, forces of the stomach, forces of the genitals, and forces of tongue. One who is able to control the forces of all these different senses and the mind is called Goswami or Swami. Goswami means, Go means senses and Swami means servant. So we all are servant of Swamis. So, but who has controlled all these forces, all of the mind and senses, is called Goswami. So it is a duty of a transcendentalist to try to control on anger and all his desires. So we go on shloka number 24. Yo natha sukho natar armas tathantara jyotir evaya sa yogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto digacchati. So one whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme and ultimately he attains the Supreme. So his aim is complete insight to please Krishna. Pleasing Krishna is much easier. If you do something for Krishna, he appreciates. His happiness, I mean devotee's happiness, is within. By living in this world, he is preparing for the next life where he can continue his services to Sri Hari. Brahma Bhuto stage, no material desire, but lives for Krishna service. He sees everyone equal. He is equipoised. He is assured to go back to Godhead, back to home. Shloka number 25. Labhante Brahm Nirvanam Rasaya Shina Kalmashaha Chinna Dvaida Yatatmana Sarva Bhuta Hiterata. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. So here we understand in the purport, real welfare for humanity is to give Krishna consciousness, is to preach about Krishna consciousness. Give everyone the real father, who is Krishna. Humanity will be peaceful. The main problem is forgetfulness of his relationship with the Lord. But we are struggling with minds and senses. And we always want to enjoy. But actually, we should always remember Krishna. When a man is fully conscious of his relationship with Krishna, he's actually a liberated soul, although he may be in his material tabernacle. Shloka number 26. Kama krodha vimuktanam yati nam yat chetasham abhito brahma nirvanam vartate viditatmanam. Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection are assured for liberation in the very near future. So, in the purport, we see that the saintly person who are always engaged towards salvation, who is in Krishna consciousness, is the best thing. We should come out of anger and material desire just to worship Vasudeva. By serving the lotus feet of Lord Sri Hari. Just try to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the great sages are not able to control the forces of the senses as effectively who are engaged in the transcendental bliss by always remembering the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, because it will uproot their deep grown desires for the fruitive activities. Now we go on shloka number 27 and 28. Sparshan kritva bahirbhayamas chakshus chaivartante bhurayo vaho tanapanau samau kritva na sabhyantara charinaho yatindre manu buddhir munirmoksha parayana vigattache bhayagrodo ye sada mukta eva saha. So, shutting all external sense objects, shutting down eyes. First thing, he shuts all external sense object. He's keeping his eyes and vision between the eyebrows, meditating by controlling the mind and senses. He is very much desiring of liberation. He's also free from desire and krodh. And person in this state is always liberated. Our aim is to break this cycle of birth and death. A Krishna consciousness person, however, always engaged in devotional service, does not risk losing his senses to some other engagements. This is a better way of controlling the senses instead of doing the Ashtang Yoga. Ashtang yogis are the people जो भगवान को अपने हृदय में सिर्फ देखते हैं. So, going on shloka number 29, the last shloka. भुक्ताराम यत्न तपस्सम सर्वलोका महेश्वरम सुहृदम सर्वभूतानां ज्ञानात्मम shantim rachati. A person who is in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. One who understands this will attain the peace from the material miseries. So this is a gradual process of elevation. Because when a person is doing all those Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharanam, Dhyan, and Samadhi. It is a very long process, but a person in Krishna consciousness only do devotional service. And a human being who can do the devotional services to Lord Shri Krishna can achieve the real peace, because it is the highest perfection of life. One who always remember Supreme Lord, who is the well-wisher of everyone, can achieve peace. So, by doing devotional service only, this peace can be awarded to us, which is the highest perfection of life. So, thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purport to the 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Karma Yoga or action in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Pancham Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yes, it's another very nice. एकदम अच्छे से एक एक श्लोक को आपने एक्सपैंड किया. So in general, अगर एक just पूछा जाए 5th chapter का, how would you explain?
I would explain, a person who is in Krishna consciousness and practicing devotional services by engaging his mind, body, words, and intelligence in bhakti, and also giving bhakti to the world so that there could be peace around everywhere and everybody is free of anxieties and worries, is the best and the easy process, instead of doing another long processes like Ashtanga Yoga and another processes by doing another sacrifices. Just chanting the holy name and remembering the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, he can be liberated and go back to God.
Yes. So basically, this chapter, Krishna is talking about liberation and how can one attain liberation. So liberation that one can attain through karma. And what is karma in Krishna consciousness? So Arjun's first question was, what is better, renunciation or work and detachment? तो क्या मुझे सब छोड़ देना चाहिए मुक्ति के लिए या निष्काम भाव से काम करना चाहिए? So Krishna says both will lead to liberation, but working with detachment, that means working for Krishna and giving everything Krishna's service is the best method, best process. और पूरा चैप्टर उसके ऊपर ही है कि how Krishna consciousness, how one acts, what are the characteristics, what are the symptoms. बेस्ट योगी अष्टांग योगा के द्वारा भी मुक्ति मिलती है, लेकिन कृष्णा से हु इज द बेस्ट योगी? भोक्ताराम यज्ञ तपसाम सर्वलोक महेश्वर. Those who understand that Krishna is supreme beneficiary and I am a servant of Krishna, that person is the best amongst all the gurus who always remembers Krishna. Yeah, so very nicely explained, Isha. Anyone has any question?
And by the mercy of our spiritual masters, our Shiksha Guru, and by the mercy of Sri Krishna, we can attain that, our service to be in a better way, to always be engaged our mind and our whole body in the service of Krishna by remembering him constantly entire day.
Yes. Yukta Vairagya. Krishna teaches you Yukta Vairagya.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, Anuradha Mataji, आपको कुछ पूछना है बोलना?
माताजी, ईशा माताजी, आपने बहुत अच्छा each and every shloka very well explained. Nothing doubt.
Nothing, Mataji. All was written by Srila Prabhupada. I have done nothing.
Yes, लेकिन you have आपने ये सब सीखा पढ़ा अच्छे से. That's why you did explain very well.
All the notes of Mamta Mataji and purport of Srila Prabhupada, and by the mercy of my Guru Maharaj, I could do a bit of it.
Very well explained. Very well.
Hare Krishna. Anurag Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा ईशा माता जी।
Hare Krishna.
या आपका एफर्ट्स अच्छे से दिख रहा है। यू रियली टुक लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट्स टू एक्सप्लेन दिस चैप्टर and you exactly got the crux of this chapter about how do we work in Krishna consciousness. That is more important than just not doing anything. It is better to work. And how do we work? You rightly said that with kaya, vacha, and manasa, with body, mind, and with our words. Everything of ours should be used in Krishna consciousness. And you also said that we also
That person
have
is
to
liberated.
give Krishna consciousness to others.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, you explained very well. I understand because आप हमारे साथ बात करते रहते हो। आपने बहुत सारा प्रयास लिया है and it is very well visible that आपने अच्छे से explain किया। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Sita Lakshmi, Aravi, Satimata, any comments or questions?
Because she has explained it very well explained actually. Each and every shloka she has explained it. So it's good that even we have read it once, so it is now again a revision. It's done very well.
Yes. So everyone,
Mm.
please go through this fifth chapter again.
Mm.
Yeah, and
Yes, Mataji.
and now next week we will have sixth chapter revision. So Satimata will do that,
Mhm.
and post that we will continue with our seventh chapter.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So
Mm.
thank you, Shamat,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
for all your nice. Yes, Hare Krishna, Satimata.
हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna.
Your efforts and for your good explanation, very well explanation. Very nicely explained.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
I'm happy everyone is putting a lot of efforts. आप लोग read कर रहे हो because I remember last week Krisha Mataji was not ready, so I'm sure she must have read at least 2-3 times.
Yes, Mataji. I
Present
was
this.
also confused with last two shlokas of fourth chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So you made it clear.
आपका कोई प्रश्न है? Your doubts are cleared regarding this chapter?
Yes,
Isha
Mataji.
Mataji?
My doubts are clear regarding this chapter. Mataji, but I have one
Okay.
question from you. Can I ask right now?
Yeah.
Mataji, this is question regarding Srinathji. So Srinathji, I have heard in a story that he was under the Govardhan Hills, and so he was feeling very hot, Mataji. So Mataji, which Acharya took him out? Vallabhacharya or
Madhavendra.
Okay. Because Mataji, when we see, there is a picture of, they say Vallabhacharya over there.
Because now it is being worshipped by the Vallabhacharya sect of
Okay.
devotees. But the whole pastime is with Sri Madhavendra.
Yeah. It is mentioned, no Mataji, in Chaitanya Charitamrita it's mentioned how
Yeah.
Madhavendra Puri.
Madhya Leela, if you read Madhya Leela,
Yeah.
there is a lot of description given about Srinathji. How
how
Chaitanya
he
Mahaprabhu
appeared
also
in-
visited and he was on top of the hill to worship him. Then he brought, actually he used to not go because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't want to step on the Giri Govardhanji. So Srinathji came down only and then Mahaprabhu used to worship him.
And then he was going somewhere else, but he liked the place that Nathdwara. And did he stopped over there? It's like that.
Actually, it's because of when all the deities were moving.
Yeah.
So then the Vallabhacharya group of devotees, they took the deity to Rajasthan. And that's how he's still there, worshipped there.
But I have heard he was going to somewhere other, but he himself stopped by Nathdwara because he liked that place.
Okay, I have to study in detail. I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
I'll confirm and I'll get that.
Okay, Mataji.
Yeah, Krishna can do that. He is supremely independent. So he can choose where he wants to stay.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vanchakalitapatu Vishpasamrute Patitanam Pavanabhyo
Vaishnavyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavyo.
Jai
Srila
Shri
Prabhupada.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.